You remember that one bike? The one that screamed past your street and left your ears ringing? Some bikes didn't just pass by. They left a permanent soundtrack in your head. Today, we're counting down 10 of the best-sounding motorcycles since your childhood. The ones that weren't just fast, but unforgettable. Let's kick things off with a classic, the Harley-Davidson. It's like the bass drum of the motorcycle world. That deep, throbbing sound is instantly recognizable. Now, imagine turning that up a notch. Enter Sawicki Speed, a company out of North Carolina that knows how to make a Harley really sing. They've got this 2-into-1 Shorty exhaust system designed for Harleys built between 1991 and 2021. What's the magic? It's all about the materials and design. We're talking mandrel-bent, aircraft-grade 304 stainless steel. That means it's tough, and it flows way better than the stock exhaust. The primaries are 1 3/4 inches, and they've got this hand-formed merge collector that optimizes back pressure. Plus, it's 17 pounds lighter than the stock system. Less weight, better flow, and that classic Harley sound, but amplified and richer. It's like taking your favorite rock anthem and turning it up to 11. Now for something completely different, the Bimota Tesi 3/D. This thing looks like it came straight out of a sci-fi movie, and it sounds pretty unique too. Bimota, an Italian company, is known for pushing the boundaries, and the Tesi 3D is a prime example. Introduced back in 2006, it's got this crazy front swing arm instead of regular forks. That's hub center steering. Underneath all that wild design is a Ducati 1100 Multistrada engine, pumping out 97 horsepower at 8,500 RPM and 10.5 kilogram-meters of torque at 4,750 RPM. It's got a 45mm Walbro electronic fuel injection system, which means the fuel delivery is super precise. All of this combined gives the Tesi 3D a very distinct high-tech sound, a clean, powerful whine that's different from anything else on the road. Let's jump back in time a bit to 1965 and the Velocette Venom Thruxton. This is British engineering at its finest. This bike was built for speed, and it sounds like it too. They took the regular Venom and gave it a race kit, including a redesigned cylinder head, an Amal Grand Prix carburetor, and reworked cam followers. This boosted the power to 41 horsepower. It's named after the Thruxton Circuit, a famous racetrack, and it lived up to the name. The cylinder head was full race spec, with big valves and a downdraft inlet port. That Amal carburetor was so big, they had to cut a piece out of the fuel tank to make it fit. With race cams, this thing could hit 120 miles per hour, and the exhaust note was pure classic British, a throaty, powerful roar that screams vintage speed. Speaking of vintage speed, we have to talk about the Vincent Black Shadow. Introduced way back in 1948, this bike was a legend. It packed a 998 cubic centimeter V-twin engine that made 55 horsepower. Back then, that was a huge deal. It could hit 125 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest production bikes of its time. The Black Shadow's sound is really iconic, a wild, deep, authoritative rumble that's instantly recognizable. It's the sound of raw power and classic engineering. You've never heard anything like this next one. Let's jump forward to 2014 and the Magni Filo Rosso. This bike is a tribute to the classic MV Agusta 3-cylinder GP race bikes that were ridden by legends like Giacomo Agostini. Magni took the 800cc 3-cylinder engine from the MV Brutale, which makes 125 horsepower, and built a whole new bike around it. The Filo Rosso weighs just 145 kilograms, that's super light, and it's got a classic double-cradle twin-shock frame, Seriani forks, 18-inch magnesium alloy wheels, and a twin-disc Brembo front brake. It's fully fared, and it looks like it came straight off the racetrack. And the sound? It's a glorious echo of those 1960s and 70s race bikes. a high-pitched, screaming three-cylinder wail that will send shivers down your spine. So, what makes a three-cylinder engine sound so different from a V-twin or an inline-four? Why do these classic bikes have such unique sounds, while some modern bikes sound, well, a bit bland? It's about the whole package. It's about things like firing order, the sequence in which the cylinders ignite. A three-cylinder engine, like the one in the Magnifilo Rosso, has a unique firing order that gives it that distinctive offbeat sound. It's also about the exhaust design, the engine's internal components, and even the materials used. Older bikes often had less restrictive exhausts, which allowed for a louder, rawer sound. Modern bikes have to meet stricter noise regulations, which can sometimes muffle the engine's natural voice. Plus, the pursuit of maximum horsepower and efficiency can sometimes lead to designs that, while incredibly powerful, don't have the same acoustic character as the classics. The MV Agusta F4 Claudio from 2018 is a limited edition masterpiece named after Claudio Castiglione, a big name in the motorcycle world. It's based on the F4 RC, so it's already a beast. It's got a 998 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine with titanium connecting rods and a specially designed crankshaft. In track setup, this thing makes 158 kilowatts at 13,600 revolutions per minute, with peak torque of 115 newton meters at 9,300 revolutions per minute. Those are some serious numbers. But the sound? Oh, the sound. The F4 Claudio uses a dual-exit titanium SC Project Racing exhaust system. It's an aggressive, exhilarating scream that's pure Italian passion. They also used a ton of carbon fiber and lightweight materials, so it weighs just 174.5 kilograms with the race kit. That means it's not just loud, it's fast. Okay, we're halfway in. But if you thought the first half was wild, the next bikes take sound design to a completely new level. Especially number 3. That thing doesn't growl, it screams like a fighter jet. The Honda RC30, or VFR750R as it was officially called, came out in the late 1980s. This was a homologation special, meaning Honda built just enough of them to be allowed to race it. It had a 748 cubic centimeter V4 engine with gear-driven camshafts, making around 112 horsepower. The RC30's V4 engine and the precise way it was built gave it a very unique sound, a high-pitched wail that became famous on racetracks. It's a sound that instantly takes you back to the golden age of superbike racing. The Ducati Panigale Vifi 4R is another Italian masterpiece, a bike that's as beautiful to look at as it is to listen to. When it's idling, the Desmosedici Stradale engine has this low rumble, and you can hear the dry clutch clattering away. That's a classic Ducati sound. But when you open the throttle, it transforms into a fierce, screaming wail. It's a sound that tells you this bike is built for the track. You might think that a louder bike is always a better sounding bike, right? Not always. Sometimes it's about the quality of the sound, not just the volume. A well-tuned exhaust can actually make a bike sound better, even if it's not ear-splittingly loud. Think about it. A poorly designed exhaust can create all sorts of weird resonances and vibrations. It might be loud, but it won't be pleasant. A good exhaust, on the other hand, is designed to enhance the engine's natural sound, smoothing out the rough edges and creating a more harmonious tone. It's like the difference between someone banging on a trash can lid and a skilled drummer playing a well-tuned drum kit. Both are loud, but one is a lot more enjoyable to listen to. Now for a wild card you probably didn't expect, we have the Kawasaki Ninja H2 is something special. It's a supercharged hypersport bike, and it sounds like nothing else. It has a 998 cubic centimeter, liquid-cooled, inline 4-cylinder supercharged engine. It makes 200 PS at 11,000 RPM, and with ram air, that goes up to 210 PS. Peak torque is 133.5 newton meters at 10,500 revolutions per minute. This thing is built for speed. It's got a high-tensile steel trellis frame with a swing arm mounting plate. The dimensions are 2,085 millimeters long, 770 millimeters wide, and 1,455 millimeters high, with a 1,455 millimeter wheelbase. Seat height is 825 millimeters, and it weighs 238 kilograms. It's also got a fully adjustable 43 millimeter inverted fork at the front and a new Unitrack gas-charged shock at the rear. Braking is handled by dual semi-floating 330 millimeter discs with radial mount, opposed 4-piston calipers at the front, and a single 250 millimeter disc with a 2-piston caliper at the rear. And it's packed with electronics: Kawasaki traction control, launch control, and intelligent anti-lock brake system. But the sound, it's a combination of a powerful inline-4 roar and the unique whine of the supercharger. It's a high-pitched, almost jet-like sound that's both intimidating and exhilarating. Last but not least, the Yamaha YZF-R1. This is a superbike legend, and the 2025 model is no exception. It's powered by a 998 cubic centimeter, liquid-cooled, inline 4-cylinder double overhead camshaft engine with 16 valves. Bore and stroke are 79.0 millimeters by 50.9 millimeters, with a compression ratio of 13.0 to 1. It uses a fuel injection system with Yamaha chip-controlled throttle and Yamaha chip-controlled intake. That means the throttle response is incredibly precise. The chassis is designed for agility, with a 43 millimeter KYB inverted fork at the front and a KYB single shock at the rear, both fully adjustable. Braking is handled by dual 320 millimeter hydraulic discs at the front and a 220 millimeter hydraulic disc at the rear, with brake control and ABS. It rides on Bridgestone Batlax Racing Street RS11 tires. The bike is 80.9 inches long, 27.2 inches wide, and 45.9 inches high, with a 55.3-inch wheelbase and a 33.7-inch seat height. It weighs 448 pounds wet. The R1's cross-plane crankshaft engine gives it a very distinctive sound, a raw, uneven growl that's unlike any other inline-4. It's a sound that's both aggressive and refined, a perfect reflection of the bike's character. So there you have it, 10 motorcycles with sounds that will stay with you long after the ride is over. From the classic rumble of a Harley to the screaming wail of a supercharged Kawasaki, it's an experience, and a big part of that experience is the sound. What are your favorite motorcycle sounds? Let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of awesome machines.